easy.
I would feel wrong.
I know.
Okay, what are we doing now?
I move that we approve this pilot and set a public hearing for October 6th. Then the full board and Justin, with the understanding that if everything goes right, we would try to approve it that day.
Second.
Excuse me, everybody in? Are you leaving?
I got, do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay. No plan have any input before we go. On this pilot structure.
And she's looking at what's the subject?
Our input is please approve it.
Okay. Roll call vote on that.
Yeah.
We had a second, right?
Yes.
Thank you. I've had a long day.
All right.
My hearing's not that good, my left ear still.
Mr. Lockwood.
I don't want her to run me take over with his truck, I won't know.
Mr. Ryan Platt.
Yes.
Mr. Latinishon. Yes. Ms. Spino.
Yes.
Mr. Shea.
Yes.
Mr. Marshall.
Yes.
Mr. Lattimore.
Yes.
All those in favor, not opposed, carried. Thank you.
Did he get everyone to bring on something?
No,
Take up this resolution.
now is there a motion to?
He had
Set the date and time for a public hearing.
Something like that. I did that in my move.
I'm sorry.
Okay, the public hearing.
We didn't say what time.
It didn't put the time in it, I'm sorry.
Well, 4 o'clock always seems to work
Yeah.
for them.
No, it would.
I might be late. I got a.
You're always late.
No,
3:30 now.
no.
Make it 4:30.
Certainly, you know, you come at 4:30, we can just put stuff off.
Hopefully there won't be people that the public hearing, but there are.
Yeah.
4 o'clock, is that agreeable?
Yes.
We're gonna be doing? Excuse me?
No, it's gotta be good. It's gotta be town where the project is, so.
I think it's gonna be at the project.
It will be in our training room.
Yeah, just inside the building.
Okay.
On the left. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everything.
We appreciate your support.
Congratulations.
Unfinished business, sewer line.
Sewer line,
It's all done and all put in.
I wish I could say that, but no. You ready?
Yeah.
It looks like we're ready to start here about 2 weeks, the way it sounds. Talked to the contractor today, actually yesterday and today, and it looks like they're gonna be pulling off that project that they were talking about earlier and be ready to hit the ground running. Since the last meeting, we've been going back and forth with some shop drawings, approvals and some clarifications and all that. We're actually probably 85% through that. The manhole, the pump state, the wet well, the pump station and the valve pit is supposed to be delivered mid-October timeframe, so things will start coming in here in the next month and a half or so, month and a half. Generator still looking out at August of next year. Yeah.
That's why I wanted him to stay for a minute for the discussion. You know what we're talking about with the generators?
Yes.
You, I think, told me that you thought it was possible you would need to use that line in May.
We probably will need to start using it in approximately May to June.
I did.
May to June
Okay,
24, 25.
24.
so somebody.
Starts using it.
Deal with the
We potentially
generator
could start
problem
using it.
when we get to that point, whether we need to say that.
When you,
What is your opinion on running that line without additional
So,
safety?
right, so just to be clear. 100% clear. We need to have access to some sort of sanitary line in May or June of 2024. We will have the ability to go from our building and go to via the bypass at the wastewater building or something like that, or through the wastewater building to be able to get to sanitary. So we don't need it to be we don't need it at May through June, but that's when we would start to be able to need a sanitary, but we can have a workaround at that point.
Is that for system startups and things like that? Okay, so as far as your flow, it's not gonna be a,
We won't be anywhere more than 10 to 15% flow,
Okay.
till probably close to November, December.
So that gives us an idea of how necessary those generators are, right?
yes, it does. That we, we were talking out in the foyer area about, you're saying you've heard stories of 2 years out for generators and things like that.
I've been told that you start at 2 years and you go down.
Yeah. We've gotten, they've already got the shop drawing approved, they've ordered it. From what the manufacturer of it's saying, it's gonna be here in August of next year. That's all we can go by right now. That's what they're telling us. So,
We'll have to deal with that when we get into
Yeah.
next year.
yes,
What's the size? Buddy?
it's 100.
100?
The other thing, at the meeting that you put up, the
Pre-bid or pre-construction, I mean?
pre,
Yeah.
the contractor needed to know if he could use lot number 4 as a staging area for putting the sewer in. And I contacted, I think Brian,
Yeah.
and he sent me, was it to you?
Probably.
And you wanted to hear from them, but is them using that line, that lot satisfactory?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't know how much space they actually needed, because we're gonna actually be doing some construction on lot 4 in the relatively near future.
Mark will tell them that they need to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And determine how much of that lot they need to.
Yeah,
Yeah, as far as,
That's between you guys.
yeah, as far as the laydown area, I did have a better idea what they're gonna need.
Yeah, I mean, it's just coordinating, because at some point we're gonna have to do cut and fill and a grade and put
Yeah.
down sub base and things like that. So once the sub base is in place, then up until the day we're actually paving.
Okay.
They can use it as much as they want. It just will have to come out for a day or two while they're down base.
Where do we land on the generator?
August of 2024.
But ultimately, yeah,
I think I gave you a copy.
there's, I just want to be real careful about answering that question, because ultimately. When we will need to have sanitary versus when we will need to have a flow of sanitary is. You're talking the difference between, 500 gallons a day versus 50,000 gallons a day versus 300,000 gallons.
Right, but one would assume it's 500 gallons a day if we don't have the generator.
That's not an issue.
It's
Yeah, it's not gonna inhibit production of any kind to have an issue with that.
Okay, so Mark just needs to make sure they're gonna be there in August.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, so basically that 50,000 gallons per day is November.
Thank you.
All right.
Any other updates?
That's it for now.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I will see what. Need update, okay? New business, Andy. Yes, the government's.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
30. We reviewed the documents, and we approved them again for the current year with no changes.
Yeah, motion.
I'd make a motion that we accept the governance recommendation.
Second. Motion made, seconded, that we accept the recommendation. Discussion. On favor.
We did discuss the timing about talking about things earlier, right, in October,
Yes,
with everybody on board.
yeah, so we should have discussions about. All the positions coming up.
Because we
So we
waited
don't
too late
discuss
this past year, we thought, we're like, what?
Yeah,
I think you're referring to the committees and everything going
Yeah.
into next.
Next year, yeah, the leadership.
Because October's next month.
So who's on the governance committee?
let's do.
No, Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, gee, you pointed at me.
It wasn't you. That's the only meeting I'm in with you aren't there.
We had it done.
We were done in 5 minutes, yeah, without words.
Okay, thank you. Well, next month we'll,
Yeah,
okay. Anything else on that?
no,
We just want to make sure that.
Managed services proposals.
Yeah, so I'll speak to this here. It's in everyone's packet and I know it's a bit lengthy. Both this managed services proposal and the VO idea that's working burner that phone. What was asked of me by the board is to start looking at services outside of CETA that IDA can control here. So I spoke with Mike Davis, who runs a shop down the street called Extra Mile Technology. And what we helped prepare in a proposal there is what he said, rather than setting up your own physical email server that stores all your files and everything else, he said, let's go with Microsoft 365, you've got a OneDrive, everything's on the cloud. So one of the reasons I like that and thought it was a nice move there, and what I tried to explain to him is, I'm working for you through end of the year. If we work together beyond that, we'll cross that bridge together. But if not, what I said to him is, can I move that license agreement to somebody else? And he said, yes. So I like that approach. It also takes everything out of CETA and it puts it back in full control of IDA's hands. The IDA then says, you know, here's who has access to these files and these email accounts. It also provides, he can set up that email account itself. So instead of me having a @Gmail account, it would be at ccaida.org, a little more professional. And we can set that up. So again, depending on who you hire in the future, or whatever you decide to do, they can take care of that. So the monthly cost for that, as well as ongoing services to make sure you've got security and everything else, that's $525 a month over a year, that's $6,300. For the phone service itself, what they said he would do is basically orders a phone. You set the phone number you want it to be, and with that, can have all forward calls to, hit my cell phone. If I'm not in the office, it'll just ring straight to my cell phone. It'll also hit my email address as well. And that also is part of pulling out of CETA because everything is directed to their line right now as well. Katie's not on the phone here, but one of the things she wanted to propose to the board is we also have QuickBooks running through CETA. That's where all of our accounting is done. And it's done through QuickBooks Online. The last thing here is to move that to online. That's about $45 a month, comes out to $540 a year for the voice over phone. The initial is $246. The ongoing monthly is about $54, and the yearly charge was $648. The reason I'm bringing up all these figures as well is going into our budget into next year, there's many more expenses that IDA have to consider for at least the last several years. So I'll look to get a draft out early for the Finance and Audit Committee to take a look at, so it's not a first blush.
What about the whole rent here?
So that's one of the things the board will need to make a decision on. It's my opinion that the IDA should continue its operations out of this. That makes the most sense.
But who's the lease? Whose name is the lease?
Yeah, so the way the building is set up is the Chamber Foundation owns the building. The Chamber of Commerce basically is the landlord. They provide space for the United Way on the second floor and CETA on the third floor there. CETA is renting the entire third floor through the end of this year, to my understanding. I don't know if it's, renews at the beginning of next year, is to potentially sublease from CETA. I also think
Why would we have to sublease if their lease expiring the end of this year?
I don't know. I know they're already in there. I don't know what their plans are for continued office space. I know there is space available upstairs.
But do you need all that?
Don't need all the space,
Right.
but a office would make the most sense.
Is there an available office around here, or is there an advantage to being on that whole floor?
I think the advantage of staying on site here
Right.
in the building,
Yeah,
whether it's the
agree.
third floor
Yeah.
or somewhere on the first floor, is all of your mail's coming
Yeah,
in
no, totally
already.
agree.
And everything is already here.
The files.
Yeah.
Everything's already here.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This morning at 9 o'clock, I had a meeting with
Right,
Ryan, and at his request, not mine. And we got into a number of things and we ended up being friends,
Ryan Pine
the guy that used to come to our meeting.
with Cedar. So you met with him alone?
Just the two of us, yeah. I talked to Ray before I did it and he encouraged me to do it. And he said they're having a major meeting a week from Thursday. And I told him we needed to know at the end of that meeting if we were going to have access to whatever part of this building Mike wants. And if we weren't going to have access to it, what kind of a lawsuit we were going to get in.
So wouldn't it make sense at this point that our attorney is representing our communications with them? I'm just throwing that out there. Because if this is gonna get ugly, I don't think any one of us should be communicating with
But
them.
his request was, I told him there was no reason to try to have him come to this meeting because there was no notice. And we had too many things going on, but he would like to have whatever group is running CETA come to our next meeting and explain. With Justin available there, where they are, and then Justin can present where we are. I don't have no authority or
Rick.
right or knowledge to do that.
Wake up. What is your thoughts on this?
What's
As
this?
well, as far as communicating with Cedar at this point, how should we be communicating with them?
Mike's been communicating with,
Maureen,
Lorraine.
With, now caveat that, well, Justin and Rick are copied on those communications, and I've also copied their existing board chair, Kevin Miles, on that. Per their request,
Right.
so I've made,
Yeah,
I don't know how many different-
This morning, I'm getting, there's so many emails. I think
Yeah,
this
so
morning-
in the morning I had-
You got the username and password on the website.
Yeah.
So.
we did.
Mr. Miller, it's.
but that's all I've got
Yeah,
so
yeah.
far, but there's other unanswered things from CETA at the moment.
well,
Most importantly, the access to our physical files right now, and one of the concerns I have around that is. For us to move forward with this public hearing and get everything approved, Justin needs certain documents that are somewhere upstairs on the third floor.
yeah, that's priority.
And we need those documents.
Mhm.
Not on that computer, they're not on, do you have the electronic file now?
I looked onto the electronic files that computer provided me, I'm not seeing them there. So that's,
Just ask her, copy me, and if I gotta
Okay.
chime in, we can't, if
Okay.
you need documents.
right,
I'm also, just FYI, there's a little lag on, they haven't put a notice in for a public hearing when the citizen can publish it.
Mhm.
So I get it in, it's first thing tomorrow morning, if you got everything lined up. To make sure it's in the paper.
okay, Justin's helping out.
I
Oh,
just,
okay.
my
Well,
point is
okay.
if, there's so many of us,
I
that
had
I
to,
think
I
we
had to
just want
contact
this
person
transition to
for
go
a while, so I can get
somewhat
it to you guys.
smoothly, and I think if you're the main contact with them through the attorneys. My personal feeling is that's the.
At this point, they don't have an attorney.
No, our attorneys,
Exactly.
yeah,
Okay.
who are representing us,
Thank
right?
you. Yeah.
Right, I think
But
that's,
they, at this point,
Does that include her?
they've not hired an attorney.
well, I think
Two of them
we need to
turned-
support Mike, that's why we
Two
have him
firms
here.
turned them down.
And I think Mike needs to
Conflict.
be the representative for all of us, that's my feeling.
So where did you land with the guy? If you're gonna talk. to him?
He said he would like to report to us what their special meeting on the week from Thursday is. And I told him I would try to set up a time that he could come to this, he or whoever is representing him could come to our board meeting to discuss it with us.
What do they want to discuss with us?
And then because John, I told them unless they eliminated the current chairman of their board, there was no sense of them coming to us because we would not exist under him.
Doesn't mean.
You know, I just,
Well,
I shouldn't say things like that. But it needs to be resolved. We need to know where Mike's gonna be. And if we can do it without being into a fight, it would be good. If we have to be in a fight, that's Justin's job, not.
I guess my simple
thing, which I think we should be separated.
Thank you.
Separate buildings, separate things.
Right, but that's all to come, but if somebody's, I just don't think that all of us should be out there talking to everyone about this. We need someone driving it.
They're trying to be nicey because the counties,
All right, but if-
the county legislature.
Any more nicey comes up, it should be referred to, we should be saying, it should reach out to our attorney.
They're trying to be nice because the county legislature is in the beginning of, their budget cycle and they want to get funded.
They're gonna get defunded.
Here's, if I could just chime in, I agree with you 100%. I think that we should get what's ours and what's prevalent as far as our documentation and our electronic files, whatever they are. Perhaps even store them off-site. I know Mike has been given a room, he can store whatever he wants up there. At the
where?
legislature, let me finish. County legislature,
Thank you.
even the 6th floor. And then after that, one person will be in charge of talking to them because. Now they're talking to us and they want to get along, but before there's been no information shared. And that's why they're in the trouble they're in, so. I don't care who wants to talk to us, but. No, but that you're exactly.
In February, we'll go back to what it was.
Right.
If they're still around, if they get funded.
Oh, and, because I'd like to put that down, I think it's time that we have the county put some funding. I had not mentioned it to anybody, but I think it's time.
You know my feeling,
I know that.
and since
We need for the county to fund us directly rather than through
See that.
Cedar.
To fund what we need for our operation, part of Michael's salary, and if we need to hire Katie is. A part-time employee, whatever, I don't know what we're going to even.
you used to be. My reservations about. And being a former legislator, so I find this. Go with my hands begging, like we are. Some of these other. Every year you have presenting budgets, and then if they like it, they get approved, if they don't like it, they work you over. The less I have to do with the county budget, the better off I feel.
But the fight's gonna be between them and the county, whether they get funded or not, it's not gonna be. It's not-
But if we're not gonna get the records, if we're not gonna have the office space. If we're not gonna have the equipment, if we're not gonna have Katie. There's no sense us paying, what, $78,000 or whatever money we're paying them. I mean, there's no sense us paying like,
I think it's 20K a quarter, isn't it?
No.
But-
No, you're not paying them that much, it's 7,500.
A quarter, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 40 a year.
Okay, something like that.
But this whole thing has to come to a head. sometime.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
that's why I had no problem with it.
We
Well,
need-
Well, we're wasting. You know, Mike's time.
Yeah.
Trying to track down, I mean, it's.
Well,
No, I agree.
Didn't we send Steve a letter demanding?
Right, who sent the letter?
That was already sent.
Right, but who did it come from? Bingo, that's what I'm trying to say.
Please, I'm on another track already. We already agreed with you. So what was the demand for? The file.
Records,
Oh, yeah, all electronic and paper files.
So have we gotten them? No.
I've gotten electronic files, I have only gotten minimal. Paper files that I've told Katie I absolutely need this. But as far as saying, I wanna come to this office and look through the IDA files because Justin needs this or I need this. I haven't had any communication back from them saying we have isolated the IDA's files, so if you need access to them, you can come in and access them. I haven't been.
So
given
can
any-
we send another demand letter?
Was there a timeline on that?
Yeah,
I can't remember, I mean.
yeah, because
That was
Herbie
from Labor Day,
Kirby-
wasn't it?
was gonna storm in the next day and,
Yeah, I recall that.
yeah, burn the place down or something.
So is there anything stopping you, Michael, from showing up tomorrow with somebody else and
Great.
have them
Going in
walk,
your
go
office.
upstairs,
Yeah,
have
sure.
one of them there, and as you're going through the files.
It's one of my concerns is, the problem upstairs is you have the IDA's files, you have the Auburn IDA's files and CETA's file, they're all commingled in different office spaces. One office has the predominant majority of them. My old office was holding on to several others.
Okay,
So I don't know what they've.
but
done to separate
if
that.
you go tomorrow or whenever, you make an arrangement.
Hmm.
And you know where certain IDA files are. You can walk right up to them. There could be somebody from CETA there as well.
Mhm.
You can take those files and take as many files as you know where they are. And you all agree, and then say, when you get a chance, when you find the others, can you let me know and I'll stop by and pick them up.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I mean, commingled is, if you're working on company ABC. And
So,
CETA's,
No, please stop.
so you should be able to walk in and take the files that you need that are relevant to us.
Yeah, and
But
then,
they're public records, so he's gotta make sure they're.
Yes,
You know, they're-
but
Right.
John's
Proper
first
stuff.
statement is correct, he should not do it by himself.
No,
Somebody-
no.
Somebody needs to go with him.
Rick's doing nothing tomorrow for a fact, so Rick,
He looked at your.
either you or her, but I.
John,
We got a water and sewer meeting.
John, you could do that.
No, actually, no, cannot do it.
Can
tomorrow.
we legally do that?
Do what?
Go up there and take the files out of the building?
yeah,
Say yes, yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying. Violently remove them, I'm saying make arrangements.
Well, find
show
what
up.
you need. You need something for this public hearing, you gotta go.
trying to be pleasant.
Yeah,
I'm not taking it
John,
adversarial
somebody
approach.
needs to go.
No,
Yes,
And
But. You can't go with
and
them?
we could store them at my office temporarily if you're not ready to store them in another one. I mean, whatever you wanna do.
I'm willing to help bring those things in my house.
No.
Yeah.
The point is to get them off site.
Yeah,
Or to get what you need for
If the
now?
County's offered us an office on the 6th floor, let's, take advantage of it, utilize it, that's where they go up.
Did you look at that office at all?
I couldn't last week, I'm gonna try Thursday or Friday of this week.
anything else come before this board?
I, very brief, the thing I handed out on that easement across the solar thing. According to Carl, all the three first things he can handle without any problem. That sewer line's gonna be in, so he can put those culverts in. We can have the water and sewer authorities engineer. They wanted an engineering drawing for putting the culverts in. That's not any problem. The last one, we can't deal with, and
Well,
I'll talk to
there's, no,
Yeah,
there's
Jeff
already,
alluded to that, yeah.
there's already, a county resolution that they're not gonna do solar pilots, right?
Yeah, but
So that's already been addressed.
that's what I got the county attorney. To inform them of that, and if they want to deal with us and leave that one out. We, according to Carl, we can deal with them, but I don't want, part of it is doing your stuff. Like putting those culverts in. Do you not want us to put those culverts in? But before I go to our meeting tomorrow,
How did I get into a culvert?
well,
business?
because you.
No,
For some
but the-
reason you look.
Well,
I There's something we're
just,
supposed to do anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, the culvert has
So
to be
that's not it.
But I think to clarify the issue is that the engineering work needs to be done to satisfy what the solar people are asking for. They want a drawing with some elevations showing where the culverts are gonna go. The next phase would be installing the culverts, which the sewer contractor was gonna do as he came through. So if we can find a path forward with the solar farm, there's two things that the water authority would be required to do. The work that they want done on the water line, the hydrants, the 2-inch connection. The second phase would be, we would do the engineering work to give to the sewer contractor, who will be there, and it'll be easy for him to do with a big machine. He'll be right there. And so I think there's a path forward here. The big if in this whole thing is the solar farm management. You know, we have this in black and white, the three things they're asking for, two of them we can easily do, the culverts and the water utility work that they would like done on their property. The third thing, the pilot agreement, is a little over my head, but it sounds like it's a non-starter anyways. So I think what we will propose tomorrow at the Water Authority Board is to have our engineer do the preliminary engineering work to get the culverts installed, so when the sewer contractor comes through, he can put them in. Does
But-
that sound reasonable?
We shouldn't do that without you telling us to do that.
Right, it would be a joint effort. Well, it would be a joint effort, to Herbie's point, because there's two phases to putting the culverts in. To satisfy the solar people. They want the engineering work done, which would be a water authority responsibility. We need the easement. Putting the culverts in would be the sewer contractor. So we need to work together, the IDA and the sewer authority.
So I make the motion that the Cuba County Water and Sewer Authority would do the engineering for the culverts. And then, under the existing project, the IDA would have the sewer contractor actually put them in, install.
Hadn't we already decided that?
Not with this detail.
Now with the engineering, he's gonna pick up the cost of the engineering.
Right, but we already decided that we were gonna repair the culverts when
Yeah.
when the sewer goes in.
We never reached an agreement with
Yes.
the contractor to put the sewer.
We spoke with them at the pre-construction meeting about it, and they're all for it. They'll help out.
They will do it.
That was the meeting I think.
Paper. Got it.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is that,
The Cuba County Water and Sewer Authority would do the engineering for the culverts. And then under the project.
Is there special elevations they want these things?
No, they just want to make sure that
So what
they can prove if we did it wrong.
what is it going to cost?
No.
It's not.
Nothing additional.
Anything for the engineering.
Correct, I understand the engineering, and then the people putting in the sewer line will replace the culverts.
Yes, so we've got to get a quote.
There'll be a
Okay.
charge. Once the design is done, we can share that with the contractor and say, develop a price for this and they'll provide us a quote.
Okay, all right, so
And we're going to furnish the culvert.
those are the ones directly behind the whole depot there.
yeah.
Well, there's one.
Yeah,
one of them.
Get the Home Depot,
Okay.
and one goes out at the
What's
other.
that?
Like, Ray had made arrangements for us to buy the what's called
Yeah,
water.
yeah, Doug still got it.
Yes, he has it. He's been waiting.
He's had it for years.
Right.
And then.
Culvert
what is it,
fixer.
20" or 24" the smaller it is.
Yeah, it's a 12-inch, but whatever, maybe it's gotta be upsized a little bit, but that's
Doug's got, I think Doug's got another 15 there. I bought one, I think he got another one.
that's inconsequential.
Oh, I gave $250 for a 20-foot 15-inch. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Last thing, then I'm gonna have, I would still like to have us vote whether we would consider what Andy said, that we would consider putting this water line if we had to.
Yeah, so what I make a motion is that the IDA initiate a project. Provide a second source of water to the milk plant.
If we need,
If we need to.
I'll second that.
Carl?
I think you're a month it's not my business, gentlemen, but I think you're a month premature.
Yeah, thank you.
Let the milk plant get through their next public hearing with the town.
I agree.
All right, let's table.
We know
That's a
John
very,
is.
very good idea.
They still got this subdivision public
You would
hearing.
like what?
Yeah.
I need to be sure.
I have one thing.
Oh,
it's
not all about you. I needed to know if she was having their
I
money
just
at
wanted to
the-
clarify,
Oh.
John's attendance
Okay.
has really gotten a lot better. this
Thank
year.
you.
Mike?
Yeah, so with these proposals here, I need some further direction as to whether or not to accept
I
these.
got a cheaper option for you.
Mhm.
I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
So
I
that-
think we
that's
should
what
go
you want.
forward with the quick books.
How
Okay.
much was that again?
The extra mile stuff, monthly is $525.
Why do we get a break?
Yearly 6,300.
Yeah, 'cause we're not
The
even-
Phone is 54 a month and 600 for you.
Yeah.
QuickBooks now, what do we need to run?
Well, and aren't we still good till the end of the year?
In the cloud.
Yeah, but aren't we still good to the end of the year right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
don't really have to make all these decisions right now, right?
No, and I'm not proposing that you do it right now, and that's part of what I spoke with them about is this would not be tomorrow, this is just early planning going into next year.
That's why I tried to.
So maybe you can you can bring it back to us again.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I can do that. Who, is there anyone who wants to attend the Chamber of Commerce annual dinner, October 4th?
You'll be out of town.
I'll be out here.
Before we- The public hearing on the sixth is at the milk plant.
That's what I understand.
I didn't know
At
that.
4 p.m.
Do we have to, does everybody understand that?
Well, you said that was your motion.
Yeah, you like
It's your motion.
I didn't say at the milk plant. 'cause I
Okay, yeah.
didn't remember.
Yeah, the town gave my little grief and I just threw it.
Give me good.
You know, what
Did she
you
say the training
room? Right inside the building, the training room.
It's a big meeting room, but
Just show up and follow everybody else.
lady,
There should be some sign to say public
No,
hearing,
you want-
because it's a public.
let me
meeting,
tell you what,
So,
once you get the door, there's gonna be somebody meet you, and they're gonna take you, because they're very fussy.
You don't want you wandering.
You don't want her down there.
You know, like. Thank you.
There's a big lab right to the left. And the meeting room's next.
is it handicap accessible?
They're gonna make sure where you go.
No.
It's gotta have all those, you're right. Does.
I don't think so.
That's gotta be advertised signage, HC.
Same town.
Yeah.
I tried.
No. Like in a law school because they're very.
Thank you, Justin.
Justin, thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Have a great night, guys. Take care.
Hi, Justin.
See you next month.